This is day 9, and we're doing something a little bit unusual today. It's actually not a day 9 daily that you're watching right now, but instead an Ask Me Anything. For any of you who are unaware, this weekend is the Collegiate Star League Grand Finals, where I'll be flying out to Florida to cast the best of the best from collegiate esports as they duke it out for the #1 prize of something. I should know this. But of course, my brain is not functioning right when we're live. Excellent. So what I'll be doing is a regular old AMA, and I have the wonderful Xeris. Thank you, Xeris. $5,500 for first place. And we'll be just taking questions from you fine folks. If you go to my Twitter, twitter.com/day9tv, there's information on how to submit questions for this live AMA. So let's just start right at the top. A question from IG Glass. Day 9, would you ever consider getting back into playing StarCraft professionally again? I know you used to be amazing at Brood War, then you started casting. You're like the John Madden of StarCraft. Well, that's awesome. I like the idea of being John Madden of StarCraft, but I hope I say things that are less obvious than, now, you see, he needs to get a touchdown. It's the worst John Madden ever. I don't care, but that's my experience of watching him. So to answer the question, I toy with the idea every now and again of stepping back into the playing professionally thing, because honestly, I just love competing. I think competition is one of the most beautiful art forms ever, where there's no subjectivity to it. If I play you even in a game of chess, one of us is going to win and one of us is going to lose. Again, ignoring draw. Okay, bad example. Sure, let's use StarCraft. One of us is going to win, one of us is going to lose. Period. It's not about anything like, oh, we both did well, or, oh, it was a fortunate circumstance, or your parents had good connections. It was literally you sat down and thought smarter things about the game in the game and won. It's this awesomely objective, clear, clean, simple system. And I just find that fun, just so fun. Because it's like creative expression, but there's an objective benchmark. I get to say, let me try this unorthodox, weird, crazy, nutty strategy. And if it loses, then objectively, I guess that form of creative expression in the game is not valid. So I like the idea of doing that quite a bit. But I would say that the issue is that I talk a lot about growing esports and trying to build this industry, and I actually take that to heart and take that very, very seriously. And there's a number of decisions of stuff that has seemed cool to me personally, but that I feel is not as valuable an expenditure of my time. So I'm envisioning a kid who's maybe freshman year at college. He's just now in an environment where maybe there's people around him who could influence him about StarCraft. But he doesn't play, and he's not into it. Envisioning that one guy who doesn't play. If I went back to playing professionally, would that be more effective at getting that guy into esports? Or would it be more useful for me to try to continue to produce shows and to do events like the Collegiate Star League, or to travel and speak at various colleges and to do a huge variety of events in different areas? I actually think that doing the events is better and grows it more, spending time talking to press. And, one could argue maybe I could do a balance of both, but I'm already struggling to stay afloat as it is, just doing my regular daily stuff. So that's kind of the logic behind it. But also another element of it is just that I really like casting and I really like playing. And given all the craziness that's going on with all the events I'm going to and all the casting, it works more nicely, and I'm just really content and really happy. So I am more than content to have all the pro players be able to be way better than me, and for me to just be a good analyst and a good refiner of builds and good talker of strategy. And yeah, sure, my execution is certainly lacking. I forget my probes and pylons embarrassingly, but that's where I am right now, and I'm really happy with it. Let's take this next question from Quantum Chaos. And keep those questions coming, Duran. I can blast through these faster. Quantum Chaos says, Day 9, when Heart of the Swarm comes out, what impact do you think it will have on the pro scene? I.e. some pros staying in Wings of Liberty, new leagues being required, etc. That's always an interesting period, because the really interesting one for me was the Reign of Chaos, Warcraft 3 over to the Frozen Throne, because WCG at the time was going to be played in Reign of Chaos, and it was like 2 months after Frozen Throne had come out. But like they were already midway through the qualifiers when Frozen Throne came out. And there's no way Blizzard can do one of these like, all right, we're going to hold off on the release of our games just for all the esports leagues to approve of when we can release it. At least I don't think so. That would surprise me if any game developer did that. But I definitely think there will be this weird scenario of, a lot of turmoil where, some people who are really good will kind of have a plummet down and new people will rise up. But I'm of the opinion that if you're good at StarCraft 2 now, you're going to be good at StarCraft 2 and Heart of the Swarm. Let's think of it almost going back to the early beta. The things that would win a lot were some goofy cheeses that people just didn't really know you could do. I still remember, like, my 5th game of ever playing StarCraft 2, someone flew cloaked banshees into my base, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that was a thing in this game, huh? Fast forward to my, 5,000th game of StarCraft 2, and I might be saying something like, huh, I didn't know about this 1-1-1 thing in Protoss vs. Terran. I guess that's a new thing that I need to worry about in the early game. This is kind of how I think Heart of the Swarm will pan out. There will be a lot of high variance at the start, but what makes any player good at StarCraft 2 is that timing sense and that understanding of when a race is weak and when a race is strong. So, something like... let's say Protoss gets a new gateway unit, a new robo unit, and a new Stargate unit. There's just like a new unit in every single production facility for Protoss. So cool, it might feel all interesting and stuff. Those are not going to change the fact that a Zerg can still do a 7-minute Roachling all-in. It's not going to change that Zergs can still do some 7-minute, 30-second big Ling, Baneling shoves all in. Or, I mean, even more notably, if Zerg, all new Zerg units are Hive Tech or something like that, it's still not going to change the fact that a really vulnerable moment for Zerg is right around 10 minutes. That's before layer tech has really had the chance to kick in. I'm speaking entirely, completely in, abstraction at this point, but I think the real pros will be able to identify these cool timing windows and this sort of thing, and it'll just kind of even out at that point. I'm even thinking where you can say things nowadays like, okay, that Terran went for really fast Hellion, which means that he couldn't have possibly started Stim unless he started it right now. So he will not be able to attack me with Stim for the next 3 minutes. Oh, what a great timing. I almost envision people being like, oh, he went, I'm trying to think back to the old BlizzCon and try to remember some of the unit names. Was Viper? I think was one, or something like that. The one that could snatch guys. Like thinking like, oh yeah, the Viper's cool, but I know a time when he can get a Viper, and if he gets the Vipers right then it'll have to delay his whatever by another 3 or 4 minutes. And it's not so much what the units are and what the units are doing, it's that interaction that I see pros like so good at determining. Like, I even know pros that whenever a new map comes out, they go into the map editor, and, if it's a Terran player, he'll say, how long does it take for a Hellion to get from here to here? How long does it take for a Marine to get from here to here? And for a Banshee to get from here to here? And they'll just rack up all these times in their head. And that was cool. Excellent. Oh my god, I'm totally taking this question from Kitty4Cat. Who's darling and always tweets adorable things. Kitty4Cat says, Day 9, you said in earlier daily that, I'm going to change some of this wording so I don't, because because I'm reading her words and it sounds like I'm saying, but I'm going to switch it. So I said in earlier daily that the best races that are my best races are Terran and Protoss. But I know that you were playing Zerg back in Brood War. I'd like to know your point of view / some sort of explanation on how that's possible. Is the Zerg from SC2 so different from the Zerg in Brood War? So here's how I'd put it. I think that if I devoted time to Zerg, I would wind up being best at Zerg. I am used to having tons of vision everywhere. I'm used to having the faster units. I'm used to having to select engagements and being more harassment focused. So that's kind of where I am with that. But the fact of the matter is I play Zerg the least. So they're very simply my worst race. Terran, I find Terran to be the easiest race to play. And I don't mean that strategically. I mean that mechanically for me. I am really comfortable always building SCVs every 13 seconds. That comes really naturally from playing Brood War. And likewise, macroing, just, the standard click on a building and say build, and then it goes to the end, and then you build it again. That's how Terran and Protoss worked in Brood War, and that's like really ingrained in my hands. So, yeah, Terran has beautiful strategic depth, and there's all the switching of the buildings and all that stuff, but I'm just used to the way that macro works for Terran, and that just helps hugely. Protoss is probably my best right now because they were far and away the most uncomfortable for me to play. Far and away. And as a result, that made it feel the most interesting and exciting for me to play. And the reason that I felt so uncomfortable with it is that it has like a weird description. Like in Brood War, it was like the expensive units that are slow to build and powerful. Zerg are like the cheap units that are fast to build and are weak. And Protoss in StarCraft 2 lives in this weird place where they build the fastest and are the most expensive. So it's like weird. Because, the way a warp gate, or the way a barracks works, if I see you coming and I go, oh my god, I have to make a Marine. I hit A, and then I have to wait for the Marine to get done, and then it pops out 20 some seconds later. And then it better be done for the attack. But with Protoss, I see you leaving your base, and I say, oh, I need 9 Zealots. And I warp those in, and they happen instantly. And then as you're coming, 30 seconds elapses, and then I can do another warp in round. That's so weird. The cooldown is reverse from the way it is with the other barracks. And that's just so weird, and that just bends my brain in half, and I have so many difficulties figuring out that decision-making like on the fly. So that feels really cool to me. And of course, with Chrono Boost, you can accelerate things really quickly to where you're like going all gateway production, then you stop, and then you go all pro production, then you stop, and then you go all into upgrades. And that whole stuttering stopping thing, it doesn't work with my head. Terran's easy. I'm building SCVs, I'm building units, building SCVs, building units, just keep building them. It's so much easier for me. It all comes back to macro. Let us divine. Let's see here. From Fruit Dip. What, in your opinion, is the best way to get involved in tournament play if I am in Canada? Alright, I have 2 answers for you. One is to play in a lot of online tournaments. And that's, do a lot of qualifiers and cups like that. But another really nice way to do it is to arrange huge, gigantic carpools for you and a bunch of your buddies. Because I know a lot of the problem that a lot of Canadians have is that, they'll want to go to something like, let's say, MLG Columbus, or maybe if there's a tournament in New York, just driving down to there. But it's kind of going there, but it's kind of a big investment to fly. But increasingly, carpooling is a great way to meet new members from the community and to go to a tournament. So hop on Team Liquid and create a Canadian carpool thread. And just do one of these, hey, I'm from Canada, I live in this area. If you live in this area, let's start chatting over Skype, and if we don't hate each other, we can all carpool and split the cost of hotel and driving down to this tournament. I know a lot of people do that for a variety of tournaments as spectators, and it works out great. So I think, why not do that for tournament competitive play? That's what I always did. Almost every tournament I went to in Brood War, it was me and 7 guys packed into like a van that like one of their moms donated him to like drive an hour south to a campground, but of course we didn't go to the campground. We went to a tournament. How cool is that to lie to your mom about no, we're going camping for the weekend and to go play video games. It's like camping is so much more dangerous than going to play video games. Oh, that's so good. All right. Super Slay says, Day 9, do you think that there will be a huge swell of new blood of players winning major tournaments with the release of Heart of the Swarm? Or do you think that the same players will remain at the top? I would probably say 80% of the main players will be there, but there will certainly be opportunities for new blood to swing in. And I don't think it's because of the game itself. I think it is because of the perception of the new game. Honestly, getting good at StarCraft is a ton of hard work and a ton of analytical thinking and a lot of playing even when you really don't want to play and just making yourself devote to this game. And when Heart of the Swarm comes out, I think that most people who are good will continue to do that, but there will be a strip of people who had that analytic ability, had the ability to work hard, but thought to themselves, you know what, there's no way I'll catch up. There's no way, I couldn't possibly be able to do that. And then Heart of the Swarm will come out, and they'll get this feeling of, hey, you know what, maybe I can do it. Maybe this is my chance since it's a new game. And a whole bunch of people will actually have a swell of motivation instead of new opportunity and skill. I mean, it'll level the playing field some, but I mean, even with a leveled playing field, pros still have the better tool set in their back pocket. Let's see here. What are some of these questions? Connor Seats asked, Day 9, do you think that Diablo 3 PvP will succeed as an esport? I don't know anything about it. I know nothing. I've only played the Barbarian. That is probably the one area that is just a complete black hole in my knowledge of esports, is any sort of RPG style PvP. Diablo, World of Warcraft, other games, like Guns. Any of those, I don't know a damn thing about. I have no idea. I would say that if there are people casting it, that'll probably be the number one reason if it succeeds or fails, because I mean, leagues are great, but it's the casting that is so much easier to do and so much easier to jumpstart. I mean, a guy in a room can just think, I want to cast Diablo 3 PvP, throw it out. Tons of people start tuning in. A tournament, you have to go through all the moving parts and all these sorts of things. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I've no idea. Ryan says, Day 9, your bio mentions you're a CEO. Yes, I'm the CEO of Day 9 TV. Yes. Do you have any employees? Yes, I do. Several, actually. You also mentioned during the AMA you are struggling to stay afloat. It's not exactly accurate. I think that the fact is that when you own a company, if you earn money into the company, it doesn't just become my money. It's like if Blizzard sold $50 million of a game, it doesn't just go to Dustin Browder or go to Mike. So similarly, if money is earned, it doesn't just become my money. I pay myself a salary, and I try to pay myself as small a salary as humanly possible while still being able to pay my bills. So that way, all the rest can stay here, and I can do cool projects. And if someone wants to help work with me on something, I don't just say, well, you're going to volunteer, and it's good for your career. Sure, I'm happy to have them work, but I want to be able to pay them. And if I have this healthy lump sum, that's great. But in terms of the struggling to stay afloat, I think a lot of people think I'm broke because I always forget to pay rent. But don't worry, it's just that I have a landlord who rolls his eyes at me a lot. But I think I'm pretty typical financially for your average 25-year-old. I mean, other than the fact that I own a company that is fine. I still have college loans and stuff. I still have to pay car insurance and rent. I still think to myself, well, I can't just blow a bunch of money eating out. I should probably buy some food or let my roommate Kyla make her delicious potato leek soup. And the end of Ryan's question is that a fiscal concern or merely time management concerns? There are interesting situations that come up when you have like people on a payroll, like, if I stop doing dailies and money stops happening, people who work for me don't get paid. And that's an interesting sort of pressure. That's a sort of cool new sort of pressure that I would have not have even been able to think up when I was back in a college student. But no matter what, as long as, for any of you who are interested in starting your own business or anything like that, it's great. It's wonderful. You should totally do it. Most importantly, you should know what makes you happy, because if you ever go into a business thinking it's going to be easy and you're just going to think of an idea and you're going to be printing billions, it never works that way. Every entrepreneur I've ever spoken to, it's a shit ton of grinding, hard work, and insane labor. And that's kind of been my experience too, but the fact is, I know that I love StarCraft, so even when I am completely and totally devastatedly exhausted, I get to wake up and do more StarCraft-related things, and that can help pull me through. Though there are days where I'm really tired, but hell, I think StarCraft is important, and damn it, gaming is important, so I'll keep freaking doing them. Yes. Mosers, I love this question. Yeah. Fucking love this question from Mosers, who says, Day 9, do you have any people/heroes you look up to? If so, who are they and why? And then Mosers very kindly says, I ask because you inspire me to play and improve, and I'm wondering if there's anyone who is like that for you. I'll just say that anytime someone says something really nice like that, that actually genuinely feels really good for me. I kid you not. It's kind of a funny thing as a nerd who's always played games this is going to sound so stupid, but to like become Day 9. Because at the end of the day, I'm just Sean, right? I consider myself pretty nice. I value being nice as my number one thing. I like laughing a lot, and I like playing games. And then to have people get on forums and like talk about you at either end of the extreme. He's the greatest ever. Everything he touches is gold. I'm like, well, I'm just a nerd who plays games. He's a jackass bastard, and I hope he rots in hell. I'm like, oh my god, all I did was cast StarCraft. It's like those end where I'm just like, But as one thing that I will always label as inspiring is not so much person, but persons, the community. Whenever I'm at an event and someone waits in a line for 2 hours just to come up to me and say, hey, I really like your show and I like what you're doing. Holy shit, does that feel nice. That is like one of the nicest things that anyone could ever do. And like after every event, I always try to stay like as long as humanly possible, because holy crap, does that ever make you feel motivated? Oh my god, seriously, to all of you who say all that nice stuff, thank you a lot. Like hugely from the bottom of my heart. It's like the only way I can really keep functioning and stay alive. So, back to people and heroes I look up to. One person I really look up to is Will Smith. Will Smith talks a ton about just having a ridiculous work ethic. That the only thing that will ever get you where you want to be is having that hustle. That willingness to just dig so hard and to push yourself to the limit to get what you want, and most importantly to know what you want, what your ideal world is, and to work at that. And he just has all these great stories about how there was a brick wall that was broken outside, like this completely destroyed brick wall, and his dad said to him and his brother, you and your brother are going to rebuild this entire brick wall. And Will and his brother said, but Dad, that's impossible. You see how huge this wall is? And he said, well, you better get started. Or something like that. I'm misquoting it. But a year and a half, I think, later, they had finally finished this wall, just laying the brick, one brick at a time. And his dad looked at Will and his brother and said, "And don't you ever tell me anything's impossible." I just love that story because it's so easy to get caught up in the whole wall. Like, oh my God, looking at all of it. But Will Smith said that all you got to do is focus on laying each brick as perfectly as a brick can be laid. And if you just keep doing that, you'll build the wall. No matter what, that huge wall will get built. And I just love that. And he just says, I'm not the smartest person. I'm not the most gifted. I wasn't born the most whatever, but I do have the best work ethic. I can outwork you, and I like that. That's a very comforting feeling for me, because it's gross to feel out of control of everything, to feel like life is happening to you. But he just seems to go, fuck that. I control my own life because I can just make my own life happen by working hard. I'm like, yeah. And the last person I want to bring up is my wonderful neighbor, John Sand. He's like so hardworking. He's a doctor on call. And he has a family of like 5, his wife and 3 kids who were my neighbors growing up. And he, would, after school, he would help me and my brother in like chemistry and biology and help us study and help all his own kids. And he would always clean up his yard and help clean up all the neighbors' yards if they were, having trouble cleaning up all their leaves. Because, I'm in Kansas City, so every fall, all the leaves fall down and covers up the lawns. And no matter how much strain and stress and pressure and work he was under, he would never complain. I have never seen that man complain in my life, ever. Just always pleasant and happy, and just thinks he has the best kids in the universe and thinks he has the best wife in the universe and just loves his house and his dog and and cleaning up the leaves. And no matter how busy he was, he always made absolutely certain to spend tons of time playing with me and George, playing catch outside. Because I was raised by a single mother who, worked a lot to try to support me and Nick and help put us through high school and college. And I'd get home from school and John would be like, let's play catch, let's go outside. And despite having this huge amount of work, always made times to have all these family dinners. And, through having so many dinners over at their house, it kind of helps you see what like the meaning of life is. And here it is. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you my idea of the meaning of life. It is going out and having a big dinner with friends, maybe drinking a little too much wine, and just laughing and telling stories. That's it. That is the pinnacle of human existence right there. See, there's nothing better. I mean, I've done all these like crazy tournaments in these crazy locations, and in my eyes, all that they are fodder to make cool stories and to contribute to that dinner. Because it's so easy to benchmark yourself on this huge rung of success. And honestly, I know that Day 9 TV will one day evaporate, and I will totally just fade off into obscurity and be some nerd who was on the internet once, and that's fine, because I have some fucking dinner stories, my friends. So that, John is the most inspiring person to me in my entire life. I hope I never forget that, and I hope I wake up and wake up one day many years in the future with an awesome wife and a dog and a bunch of kids. Just be like, yeah, and like take them out, but we won't play catch. We'll throw the frisbee around because I'm not a football guy. Yeah. Let's see here. Let's just keep going down from Sir Good Mood. Woo! Day 9. How did you acquire... I just unplugged my speakers. Sorry, 1 second. I hope this doesn't short out my computer. Alright, I'm going to test to make sure that they're still working. Alright, cool. They're good now. Alright, back to the AMA. Sir Good Mood says, Day 9, how did you acquire your awesome mindset of constantly improving? You never seem to take a loss in a bad light, but instantly seem to be able to see the positives. How do you do it? That's kind of an optical illusion. I'm kind of limited in my interaction with, like, I guess you. we don't, you only see me when I'm doing something like this or a show. And I'm pretty comfortable if I have like a bad day, setting those negative feelings aside and just indulging in how much fun I have in the daily. And then when I'm done, being like, and kind of being a little more somber. But I mean, sure, I get real frustrated after losses. I'll go on losing streaks and be like, ugh, ugh, and just need to go outside and like walk around because I'm just like frustrated. But I think that the whole obsession and love of like this idea of improvement comes from two things. One is that StarCraft, by playing StarCraft competitively for so many years, it teaches you that a loss is just not a big deal. It doesn't matter. Or I'm sure some of you have had the experience of failing a test or failing a class like years ago, and you think to right now, and you're like, that didn't even matter. That had no impact on me. So this ends up making me as a person like not risk averse at all. I love taking big risks, you know? Like hell, getting out of grad school with student loan debts and saying, I'm going to do this StarCraft 2 thing. I'm going to do StarCraft 2 full time. That's a risk. It's not like not like money was pouring out. Like every time I did a daily, gold would just pour out of the screen and I just hold a bucket and be like, fuck it, it's so easy. It's nothing like that. It was a risk, but what's the worst that could happen? The daily totally falls apart. I suffer complete public humiliation. And then I just go get a job as a teacher or, hell, making video games. Or go study math. Like, there's a million and one things that are there. And so if I fail miserably, no big deal. So I like that feeling of pushing it. I like when, I'm on the ladder and like one of the top 5 grandmasters shows up in that queue, and I'm like, all right, I know this guy's better than me, but this is gonna be awesome, right? I'm just like, yeah. Or that feeling of I have too much work to do today, and I'm like, all right, the worst that could happen is I fuck up all the work and everyone gets pissed at me. No big deal, right? Like you just keep grinding through it. So that's the biggest one, is this feeling like, yeah, the worst that can happen is I just get crushed, which is just not actually that big of a deal. And the second thing, and like, I can't remember if I said the first one was more important, but whatever I said about the first one, that was a total lie. The second one is far more important. That I have learned over time that emotions are no big deal. Emotions are just data that your body is churning out at you, and if it's like bad emotions, that's okay. You should be nice to yourself, and you should go somewhere quiet, and you should cope with those negative emotions. Like, ever gone on a losing streak? You lose like 10 games in a row when you were trying so hard, and then you know what happens? You're so mad, and you walk away, and 30 seconds later, you're still enraged. You're going to be enraged for 20 minutes. But then what happens in your head is you think, I suck at everything. I suck at this game. I'll never be good at this game. You think all these negative things. Oh God, I am so hard on myself, and I had the hardest time with that in high school. I was so depressed in high school because I would get caught in these highly negative internal monologues where I would just hate on myself. And I think real fast, and I have a broad imagination. The hate I gave myself, oh, you can't say anything to me that I haven't said something a million times worse to myself. And that is very toxic. That is very self-toxic. And I just forced myself to just stop thinking all these negative thoughts. to just stop hating on myself. And when I failed, to just be like, okay, I'm pissed and I want to yell at myself, but I'm going to not. And even doing stupid things like talking out loud to myself or going and eating a lemon because it's a really outrageously powerful flavor burst in your mouth. Just to be like, okay, I'm going to do that. Oh, God, I'm angry. I'm really angry. I'm frustrated. And all these things I'm saying are all true, but I'm not directing it back at myself. And anytime I do something good, I try to permit myself to enjoy that. Because that is actually something I still struggle with. If I have a good success, I'm still like, yeah. Like if I do a good daily, I'm like, yeah. Then I just sort of go on with other things, because I was really good at stopping the negative stuff, and it sort of caused me to stop some of the positive stuff too. So I'm like trying to be like, no, it's okay to be happy with a show you did. Why not? Or if you watched a really good TV show and you enjoyed it, that's where I'm more comfortable being like, that was awesome. But also my wonderful dear friend Cambria, who just said really nice things to me regularly. Like how if you say something funny and someone laughs, you feel good? But she would then be like, God, you are really funny. She just would say that. And I'd be like, oh. And that really sort of helped pull me out of the depressive slump I was in for years before college. So, yeah, So when I lose, I just go off and I sort of decompress and slowly chill. There we go. Yeah. I hope that answered the question. That was really bad. From Colonel Satan. Day9, can you talk a little about your approach to interacting with fans? I was kind of blown away at how focused you were on actually meeting your fans and showing them respect at Battlegrounds this weekend, and I commend you for that. Well, thank you. Yeah. So here's my policy. Here's my policy on meeting you at an event. If you are taking the time out of your busy life, and I'm not saying this facetiously at all, but if you're taking the time to come up to me to just say something nice, it's a really, really nice thing to do. Really an unbelievably nice thing to do. And I might have, I don't know, let's just pick a number at random here. I might have 9 fans waiting for me, right? But so by number 7 or 8, it's easy for a person to be like, oh yeah, to sort of go into the, oh yeah, it's another person, or hell, if you're signing for 2 hours and you're at an hour and 45 minutes, to be like, okay, all right, let's do this. I've seen people get into that habit, but you can't do that. You can't let yourself do that. That's wrong. Because, yeah, you might be the Xth person I've seen in a row, but you are seeing me for the first time, and you only get 30 seconds to a minute or 2 minutes. So if you're doing this really nice thing for me, the least that I can do is just be nice back. I don't know, it seems so obvious, but the thing that you have to remember about every player, caster, everyone, is that they're just people. They're just organisms that get exhausted. And I have seen players who will sign for 100 fans and just be too tired. They physically can't even be around people anymore. And that 101st fan comes up and doesn't get that nice treatment from that player, and they're devastated. And I just want to say to that 101st person, that player feels terrible about it and is super sorry. And I know for a fact I have done that to some people before, where I'm just like, I can't. I'm sorry, I can't. I'm dead, because and I'm so sorry. I know it's horrible. So at Red Bull Battlegrounds and many events, my policy is that if the event's done and I'm able to go out and sign, I sign until every single person is taken care of, period. I don't care if it goes till 3 in the morning and I have to cast later. It's just what I'm going to do. And I will defer all my exhaustion till after the event. You'll notice you didn't see me on Monday and Tuesday. That's because I wasn't coherent. That weekend was really stressful, just in general. The days were long, and I made sure to like stay out every night to make sure every fan was taken for. So I just deferred that exhaustion until Monday, when I just was non-functional, man. I was just, and then I got on the plane, and the person next to me wanted to talk, and I was like, you need, just stop. You need to do anything but talk to me right now. I'm so sorry. I have a meeting I have to be in. I was, oh shit, I'm sitting next to him for the whole flight. So yeah, that's my policy. And don't rush. And there are many people I meet who want to say something and will like get nervous. And I will never rush you. If you start, like say something weird and like stumble, and I can tell that it's not what you want to say, that's fine. I'll just say something that's like, yeah, no, and just like start over. It's fine, and I'll never rush. And there are some people who like linger there for like 5 minutes because they just have a story they want to tell me. And you know what? Always that story is awesome, and it's always a really nice story of like, yeah, you know what? Here's my ritual with the daily. I have a really stressful work day, and I don't really get to spend time with my wife because we both work double shifts, but we come home and we watch the daily and we giggle, and it's a really fun way to just go to bed. And I'm just like, I like that story. So yeah. So again, if any of you, if I ever say something like, I'm sorry, I'm in the middle of an event, I can't sign, but I'll do it after, I promise you I will. So just stay after. So just come after. Hi. I believe very firmly in it. Haha. Haha. Let's see here. Alright, cool. From Roast Duck. Do you see a trend in people who don't play StarCraft 2 but still enjoy watching competitive matches? I would probably say that I lost my train of thought. What was the question? What am I talking about? Yes, you don't play competitive. Yes, I do. I think that there's a certain degree of difficulty of approach on StarCraft 2 where, like, game's hard. It's a hard game. It's really fun. It's a hard game. It's really, really hard. And there's you can't really just dabble in a game of StarCraft 2. Kind of like with football, like American football, you need like armor and helmets and like special gloves, and you need to have a field that's really large and a specific size, and then you need 2 teams, and then you can play football. But you can play catch with a football, and that's like a simple version of it, and it's kind of hard as an on-ramp there. So I think what's amazing and beautiful about StarCraft 2 is that the complexity is quite straightforward to understand. This is actually the edge that I get from doing the daily, is I can identify something like, aha, there are 3 minutes here where there is no chance of Terran being able to attack, and I can explain clearly why. But it's really hard to execute. It's really hard to constantly remember to go back and build those Marines, to go back and build those depots, to go back and build those SCVs. And I really enjoy doing that. I love every time I don't get supply blocked, I get this rush of endorphins. I'm like, yeah. Every time my build order lines up perfectly, just that, yeah, it feels so good. And a lot of people just get pissed off at that. So yeah, I do see some of that, but at the same time, I think people are starting to realize that if they just get on and play, and their friends continue to get on and play, the game itself is just really fun, and there's no reason that you have to play 1v1. You can play like 4v4s, and then you can play 1v1s just against your friends and never do a competitive ladder experience ever, because at its core, StarCraft 2 is just brilliantly designed to be viscerally fun. I just wish it was the most popular thing in the universe and everyone played it. Like everyone. From Maru Little Boy. Day 9. It's really easy to get tired after playing 5 games of SC2, especially when I lose many of these. This puts me on tilt and affects my plays. Or anything to do that allows you to constantly play without mentally tiring out. Play a shit ton more. Your brain is a muscle. Like, I have the ability to work like 100 plus hours every week, week in, week out for years. And that's just because I wanted to be a workhorse, and I worked at that. And just like someone who runs a lot can run more, you just have to start making yourself do it. So the easiest way is actually to make a regimen. Let's say you get tired after 5 games. 3 days a week, make yourself play 10 games. I don't care if you are cheese all-inning those last 5 games, you force yourself to do it. Literally, with any negative thing that you, or in my eyes, any negative thing that I've had, I just attack it. Anything that is negative in any notion of the word negative, I just do a lot of that. You even heard me say earlier in this AMA, my favorite race, Protoss, was the most uncomfortable, difficult thing to play. All right, I'm playing it lots, nothing but Protoss, until I feel comfortable with it. What are things that I used to not like to do? A whole bunch of things that I just really abhorred doing. Oh God, it was just the worst ever. Public speaking, I hated. I loved public speaking now, but I was so nervous and uncomfortable, and I didn't know how to deal with being on stage, and it was all stuttery. And this actually happened in early high school, where I just was so scared about public speaking. But I wanted to be a good public speaker, so I did it a lot. And I made an idiot out of myself so many times. Oh my God. I used to even try to get like crowds in college and try to like tell stories to them when I wasn't quite sure where the story was going. Just to be like, okay, I want to feel this horrible feeling and figure out how to have it not happen. I made a lot of people give me weird looks then. Oh my God. Like people would be like looking at me like this, and then they lean to their friend like, what the fuck is he talking about? Right? Like it just went horribly, but sooner or later I got comfortable with it. And what you'll find if you ever meet me is that in real life I am actually exactly like this. There is no difference between me on the daily and me in real life, with one exception. I tend not to present like, tired Sean and other types of Sean or something like that. But this energetic, bouncy dude is pretty much me. If I have a terrible day and I'm crying, I won't turn on the daily and sob for an hour. I'll just kind of wait till after the daily or something like that. But yeah, what you see is what you get. And that was years and years of just making myself do it. So same thing with the games. If you're like, how do I make myself not tired after playing games? You just play the games. You play them. You do the exact thing that makes you feel bad. You don't do any roundabout thing. You do that thing. It's like I wanna, like work on being better Protoss. Are there herbs I should take? You play Protoss, Play a lot and regiment it. Yeah. Let's see here. These are long questions. Yeah. Poop Feast 420 says, Day 9, what is your opinion on team houses? Lots of foreigner teams are now using them, but in a very different setting than their Korean counterparts. Do you think this shift in attitude and style will affect them in any way? All the team houses in NA in Europe seem to be just group homes for ladder grinding, while the Korean houses are used in a very different manner and are much more strict. I don't really know if people can make definitive statements about the coaching in a lot of the Korean houses versus American houses, because they tend to be pretty insular in the Korean houses, and they don't stream a lot, and you only really see them infrequently in GSTL or GSL, whereas, like the EG house, every one of those players streams, so you'll see them streaming ladder. But I do know, in houses like the EG house, they do a lot of, like, interpersonal sparring, custom games, these sorts of things. But I think it's very clear that in any house you have to have someone imposing some sort of regimented schedule, because there are days when you will wake up and you don't want to play. And there needs to be some sort of external force that just gets you to go play. In the same way that there are days when you wake up and you don't want to exercise. But you should go exercise, because it will make your brain function better, and you'll be healthier, and you will die less. But I actually think that is the number one reason that North America and Europe are way behind Korea. Is just not good training environments. And it's that thing that I said, that I woke up and I didn't want to play. And then the schedule routine made me play. In North America, if I were pro, I would wake and be like, I don't want to play today. And you know what happened? I wouldn't play, and no one would hold me accountable. It's that accountability that I just think is the big thing. Let's see here. Milo Goodell says, Day 9, what's your favorite book? The Art of Learning. Which I think, yep, there it is. If you look at this top here, let me actually move my hand to it. Let me see. Yeah, that book right there. The Art of Learning. This book right here. I would go get it, but I have a whole bunch of laundry underneath that bookshelf, and it's treacherous. It's the greatest thing ever. I quote it all the time in the daily. It is just fantastic. Iverodagny. Oh God, I can't. Yverodagny. Iverodagny. Says, Day 9. With both you and your brother casting and always traveling to tournaments, how's your relationship with your brother holding up, and how do you keep it working? I have a good relationship with my brother, and it's largely Skype-based. I visited him in Korea once. A lot of times at tournaments, you'll see us like hanging out, because it's like our brotherly bonding time. But we have a pretty stable relationship that is based largely on nostalgia for old games. Talking about like the old Sega Saturn games we would play, like Guardian Heroes, Sonic Racing, Shining Force 3. Nick really loves Panzer Dragoon Saga, and to this day is upset that I haven't beaten it. But yeah, I mean, that's one thing that's really nice about Skype. It makes it like so easy. It's like so straightforward. And it's kind of funny because, like, a lot of times, we won't end up casting at tournaments. And a lot of it is just that behind the scenes, the tournaments are just impossible. They're just, like, so stressful to run. Nick and Dan will be casting, and they'll get off, and me and whoever will be casting, and we'll have wanted to do a swap, but they'll have to go start casting again, and we won't end up doing it. We'll be like, whatever. Because I assume it's the same in Nick's eyes, but in my eyes, like, I grew up with Nick, and the idea of talking about StarCraft with him is just not, I'm just like, I'm sure, it's fine. I do that all the time. A lot of times people are like, oh my God, they didn't cast together at that tournament. Something's horrible, isn't it? I bet that Nick built cannons in another game against Day 9. And he's fucking pissed about it, And it's just one of these like really boring answers where it's like, no, in actuality, we just kind of didn't, and I don't know. But yeah, Nick's cool. I like Nick a lot. He tried to feed me octopus tentacles when I went to Korea. They cut the head off the octopus, and the limbs writhe for like up to an hour after you've decapitated the octopus, because apparently the nervous system is going crazy. So he fed me those. So Matthew says, day 9, would you ever go into someone's stream that does not have a million people watching and give the player some tips about his/hers play style? I actually do the opposite a lot. I am always going on to streams on Team Liquid and watching people of all levels, because I think that no matter what level of play someone is, there's always cool things that they do that can be an inspiration for some type of play. And also, I would never ever want to be the guy who gives tons of unsolicited advice. Oh God, oh, it's such a mistake to try to give unsolicited advice. Like, sure, on my dailies, it's like a strategy daily, and it's my thoughts, but it's like, it's presented that way. But I'm never going to go up to someone at like an MLG as they're warming up and be like, hey, I want you to know you're forgetting your pylons a lot. You need to work on that. I don't want to be that fucking guy. Ugh, I hate that guy. Oh my God, you know what's horrible? Backseat gamers. Oh my God, I hate backseat gaming. Like when I'm playing Prince of Persia and I wander down and there's a pot and I just think, I want to break that pot. And I go up and smash it. And then the person next to me says, you realize there's nothing in the pots in this game. And I'm just like, you piece of shit. Let me break my pot open. Let me just destroy this pot. Or like, I'll be trying to do a jump. I was playing Prince of Persia a while back, and one of my roommates was doing it, and I almost killed him. I was just wrapped the cord around his neck, but I couldn't because Xbox 360 cords are wireless. Because he just kept going, oh, dude, you have to run along that wall. I'm like, would you shut up? What makes it fun is me fucking up like 100 times and then figuring it out. That joy, I'm not interested in I'm not the guy who gets Harry Potter and just goes to the last page and is like, oh, is that what happened? Pfft, that's fun. Wouldn't that be fun if you were a backseat reader and you open up book 4 and the guy's like, hey, Snape kills Dumbledore, and you're like, what the hell? And he's like, dude, I wanted you to know you weren't there yet. I hate that guy. So believe me, if anyone ever asks me for any, like, hey, what do you think I should do, I would be happy to give my input. But God, I don't want to be that guy. Oh my God, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy who goes in there and I'm like, well, I have a TV show, therefore I know what I'm talking about. I've said shit that's wrong in the daily so many times. There's things that a week after I do the daily, I'm like, oh my God, I did the whole daily on that topic. And I think that strategy's good, but I think that a lot of things actually beat it. Whoops, that's interesting, right? So I don't know. I'll only ever know about 5%. Let's see here. DJ Elmo says, day 9, do you think it's more important to search for and find out what you want to spend the rest of your life doing before you make a big risk to pursue something, or is it better to just pick one of many things you think you love almost at random? Just go for it and see what it teaches you. Definitely the second one. Being crippled by inaction sucks. Oh, that sucks. Ugh, it's the worst. I have seen more, like, sitting around trying to figure out the best path and trying to do things that are realistic. There is no faster path to mediocrity in life than trying to be realistic and figure something out all the way before you jump into it. When I started the daily, I think most of you know me for the daily. If you knew me for Ultimate Frisbee or something, that'd be weird. Or for math, I don't know. It's, oh, that guy who's into math, I didn't know he did a StarCraft show. No, you know me because of the freaking daily in StarCraft. But when I started the daily, I was in graduate school for game design, studying that. I was also working on a platformer game that I submitted to the Independent Games Festival. I was doing educational research games for mathematics as a job to earn money. I was also doing the daily, and all these things interested a different part of my brain. The daily, obviously, the sort of how do we articulate an abstract idea. The educational research game was kind of simple. How do I take this concept and turn it into a process that's sort of game-like? There was this platformer that had a lot of weird physics in it, and I was trying to figure out not just how to code the physics properly, but also how to get the physics to feel right. And I was doing all these classwork things that also interested in me. And I almost envision, like, success in life as trying to live off eating popcorn kernels. If you try to put one kernel in and wait for it to pop and then eat it, and then put the next kernel in and wait for it to pop and then eat it, you'll starve to death. But if you just throw a whole bunch of kernels and just see what happens, probably going to get a lot more to pop. So I was doing all these various things. I had a whole bunch of kernels on the pan, and the Day 9 daily popped. And that's why I'm here. Hell, if maybe that IGF game I submitted went crazy, it was really successful, I might be developing games right now. I don't know. Maybe if they all catastrophically exploded, maybe I'm a llama farmer. I don't know. Llamas are adorable. I saw this hilarious looking llama on Reddit. Let me actually get that llama up. I'm doing this. This is my MA. I don't give a shit. You think I give a damn? Oh, where is that llama? Oh, where is it? We're not going anywhere until we get to see this llama. Oh, no! No! I can't find it. Oh wait, oh wait, oh wait. Oh wait, I think we're getting closer. No, wait. No, it's my heart. Okay, come on, come on. I'm like going pages back. I don't care. I'll just do it longer. Anyone know what llama I'm talking about? No, it's not that llama. People are posting the llamas. Come on, come on. It was just like happy little guy like looking sideways. Seriously, where is it? Where is it? How can it have been bumped that far back? It was like front page quality junk. It was on /r/aw. It was like this alpaca, and he was like so happy. Oh no. Oh. Maybe it's just gone. Maybe it's gone forever. Yeah, people are posting it. Keep posting. Keep them coming. Keep the cute llamas coming. Come on. No, it was certainly an alpaca. Oh, God. Yesterday. Listen, we're going to a break, and when I come back... No, screw that. Oh, God. You know what? I'll just find it at the end. I'll find it at the end. God. God. I'm so bummed. Oh, wait. Oh, wait. Oh, wait. Oh, yes! Yes! Here it is! Oh, oh! Oh! That's not a llama. Oh! Look at him! Look at him! Oh, thank God. Oh, I was gonna get so strung out. Woo! That is awesome. Oh, God, I love that llama. That was awesome. Yeah. Let's see here. Cthulhu, day 9. How has your increased fame affected your personal life? Have you made lasting friendships with people who are fans that knew you as Day 9 before they knew you as Sean? Has it been tough to maintain relationships with family and friends from before you made the daily? The I've definitely had some rough times with some personal relationships, just because the daily is there's a unique kind of exhaustion that you feel after an event where, I mean, have you ever been under deadline for an essay and you it's like 2 hours till the essay is due, and you think to yourself, all right, I just need to take a 5-minute breather, just splash some water on my face, and then I have to go back and do that essay. You don't even get to do that when you're live. If I'm live and I'm up there and I turn to Marcus and I blank, I have to say something. Because if I stop talking, then everything stops happening until I start talking. So you get used to just shoving forward and continuing to plow forth. And there's been times, where I'll do an event and I'm just so exhausted, and I'll come back and I'll be like, okay, I'll get off the plane at 1 and I'll come home, eat something, it'll be 2, and then I'll just prepare for Fun Day Monday and do Fun Day Monday, and then afterwards I'm just so tired. One of my friends calls and wants to have like a long conversation, and I'm just like, I can't. I'm just too tired. Can we talk later? And I've had people get like, feel like personally slighted, like, because they're like, yeah, well, I'm tired too. I had a long day at work. I'm like, no, I just spent 45 hours talking. I need to lie down. So that's been hard in some ways. But I have a lot of I have a decent number of really, really close friends, like Tristan, Cambria, Zoe in Germany, my roommates. Who else do I like a lot? My mom. Oh, fucking great mom, great family. Eric, who I also work with, just are really centering for me. And I can just be nuts, out of my mind, exhausted and just loopy, and they're really patient with me and really nice. So that's been really nice. I've lost touch with a good amount of some of my hobbies. I used to do a lot more board gaming, and I kind of miss doing that. But I actually think I've sort of fallen into the trap where I'm just working too much. I'm just overworking, and I'm getting a lot done. But getting a lot done is, again, not nearly as important as having an awesome dinner with friends and drinking a little too much wine and laughing a lot and telling stories. So, yeah. I haven't, I'm trying to think if I've become close to, it depends on how you say fan. I don't know. I've met a lot of people through StarCraft. I don't know. There's certainly people who knew me as Day 9 and met me and got to know me as Sean, I guess. There's never been someone like, or after an event, they'll be like, hey, do you want to go do this afterwards? To like hang out and eat. And I honestly would like to, but I'm just too tired. I have to go to bed. So I haven't really had one of those happen. But that's that. Let's go ahead and let's do 5 more questions. So this one from 8 Bacon Strips. Day 9, what is your favorite word and why? And then he says, love you, and a heart. Well, I love you too, 8 Bacon Strips. There you go. There's your heart. What the hell is my favorite word? I know I have one. Anyone know what my favorite word is other than bejugular? Someone help me. I'm pretty sure I've said it. Counter is my favorite word. Youch! Smidgy bitch. These are all my favorite words. I'll try to answer that one at the end. Dear Day 9, what is your opinion on Duran Parsi? Xeris. You should be more like Xeris. Xeris is one of the people who correctly creates jobs for himself in esports rather than waiting for someone to give him a job. He manages teams, he runs CSL in a lot of ways. He has always been involved in team management and tournament organization, and is just super really active and never asks anyone for permission to do stuff. Which I hear so many people ask for permission. Hey, I want to do this podcast that has this weird comedic bent with music on esports. You think I should do it? I'm like, who cares what I think? Like, I'm just Sean Plott. I'm just a nerd who watches Netflix. I'm not an arbiter of content. Go fucking. It's gonna be awesome if you make it. Do it. And Durant, he just does it, man. He just gets it done. And I still remember when I was on some of his teams in college, and he was very responsible about dealing with my personality, because I worked a lot in college as well, and I would want to sleep in on Sundays, and he would call me every Sunday and wake me up and be like, hey, Clan League match happening, get up, go shower. And then I'd get out of the shower and be like, I'm ready to play. He's like, it's in 30 minutes, so you have time to wake up. And I'm like, ugh. All right, I'm going to get breakfast. And then I would come and I would actually be ready and, like, awake. And he's like a solid team manager like that. He wasn't one of those people who'd be like, oh, Day 9 sleeps in. Well, he's off the team. But dismissive. He was like, okay, Sean is this personality with these quirks to it. How do I get him to show up to these matches and play well? And it's that sort of thing that I think is very admirable about Duran. And that is what I think. So it's the second one. From I am a Stone. Says, hey Sean 9, do you think other game developers are noticing how big esports could be? Oh, absolutely. No doubt in my mind. They're talking about it, huge buzz about it, etc. And are they going to start tailoring games to be esports friendly? I think that this will probably begin happening more and more in the future. That was good. I think this will probably start happening more in the future, but for the most part, I think it requires some different business models, because, I mean, if something is esports friendly and competitive friendly, then what that means is it's a game with a lot of competitive depth that is spectator friendly. And you have to figure out, how do I make money off spectating? League of Legends makes their game really, really, really easy to just start into. And then they just embed the spectator right into the client. And I think the next thing is to figure out, like, that business model, like, if I start making games in my new competitive thing, maybe I create a system where you can put $5 down on the match, and the winner gets $9, and $1 goes to me, the tournament organizer. Well, hey, that's a sort of skill match where we're both putting an entry fee to this 2-person tournament, and there's a prize. And maybe that's how the companies can start making money. I think these are the sorts of business models that need exploration. From Vendetta says, Day 9, has there ever been a moment from a tournament that really touched you? Like a conversation with a fan/player, or a big tournament win by an underdog? Huh. There's two that really stick out to me. One is DreamHack Winner 2011. The one that Liquid Hero narrowly won against Puma. And Nick and Dan were doing the casting, and I was to do the winner interview and the closing ceremony. And so the stage was set up. So I'm sitting on stage. Here's the crowd here, and then here's Puma's booth here, and here's Hero's booth, and there's this pier that goes out into the center of the crowd. So there's a flat stage and this, like, walkway out there. So I was standing at the edge. And Hero comes up, and he's literally standing 3 feet from me, and he's teary-eyed, and he's just trembling. His hands are just shaking, and he just keeps covering his face. He's completely overwhelmed. His eyes are red and tearing, and you can just see the sweat on his forehead from playing, and you can see like the pounding of his heart and his neck, and he's just shaking. He doesn't even know what to do, and it was just such a powerful moment for me, because he was like right there. And you can even see videos of that Winter DreamHack where I'm standing there, and you can see he's like right next to me, and I'm just staring straight at him going, holy shit, that man's overwhelmed. Because oh man, it's so funny, because when you're a player, you do nothing but think about emotional control, right? You're just like, how do I stay focused? I won a game, how do I not calm down? Or how do I calm down? I just lost a game, how do I not get pissed off? You just, all these control, make sure you don't make mistakes, come on, and then you're done, and you don't actually have to control it anymore, and all this stuff is just gone now. You just won, you're done. You just won, and you don't even know how to celebrate. So that was one. And another one that always touches me is when a player or personality, but largely the players, go to a tournament and they just get smashed. And I don't mean they lose first round. I mean they get to a point where there's like a public embarrassment. Like he loses and everyone's like, ha, I knew he would lose, he sucks. Or when I'm sure you've seen an MLG where players have had games won and threw them away, right? Or when there's been people who have been involved in just like that sort of crushing, or like every time Marine King Prime got second, damn it, like things like that are so horrible feeling. And then just to see that person show up again at the next tournament, it's really easy to quit StarCraft 2. Can I be honest? It's really easy to quit StarCraft 2. You just quit, you just stop. You just quit StarCraft 2. But they don't. They just show up again. And there's even people who've been like owned like 5 times in a row. And again, I'm thinking someone like Marine King Prime, or even someone who, showed up to the open bracket, getting really close and got knocked out again every single time. And they just keep getting on, they build their reputation, and they just keep showing up. That's so hard to do. That is so freaking unbelievably hard to do, because it's so easy to just be like, I'm throwing in the towel, I'm done. And I just have so much admiration for someone who can just get owned and just hop back on the horse and keep plodding along. It's really hard. It's really hard to do. So I really like that. I really like that a lot. So let's take the last question. The last thing I want to do is take a question that's like, what's your favorite color? Yeah, another question from our little boy, who says, Day 9, do you think esports will be the future? Will bars be showing SC2 instead of football because more people will want to watch SC2? Also, what do you think is missing at the moment in the community or the industry that we will need in the future to make this happen? To answer the first one, I never really liked the idea of, I guess I'll just say dick measuring, in terms of like, oh, we're esports, we have this many millions of views, and you're football, well, you don't have enough many views, we do, we're going to beat you one day. Because that's so silly. I watch football. I really like football. Like, on some Sundays when I'm free, I just like go out on the couch and I watch football with my roommates. It's really fun. And I also, believe it or not, I watch StarCraft. Right? I just think that they're almost independent. I want StarCraft to grow. I don't want anyone else to fail. I don't want anyone else to feel horrible. I just want it to grow. And I think the big thing that's always missing and will always be kind of not missing is the cultural bring-in. In other words, you going to a friend and saying, hey, I'm pretty sure you'd be into this StarCraft thing. Come here, and I will walk you through it. Because if you think about it, American football, no one ever opened up a manual. No one ever opened a manual and learned the rules of football. You learned by it being on TV, and you going, what's that? Like, it's football. Like, how does it work? And they explain to you these non-intuitive rules of 4 downs, and you punt on the 4th if you can't get it 10 yards, and a field goal is 3 points, and a touchdown is 6, and you get a 7th if you can, like kick a shorter field goal. It's like the rules are fucked up. They're so fucked up. They don't make any sense at all. They're stupid rules. But with all this complexity, you figure it out because it's culturally set up so that you learn. People sit there and explain it to you. And I mean, I think the daily has helped certainly some people get into it, but nothing replaces a physical person sitting next to another person going, now let me explain this to you. Now see that's how that works. So I think for it to really succeed, bringing your friends to bar crafts, introducing your friend to another thing, being that instruction manual for them where they can ask you anything and you can instantly give the answer. Even if I know a lot of people do this thing where like, well, I'm a bronze, I can't give any useful insight. That's so not true. Be the worst bronze player in the world and you have good knowledge that you can share with someone and bring them into the game, because the only thing you have to have is enjoyment for StarCraft 2, and that's it. That's all you have to do. That is, I think, the number one thing. And while I'm tuning out, I'm going to figure out my favorite word. And if you'd be so kind as to go on over to cstarleague.com. C as in the letter C, starleague.com. Get a little bit of support to the Collegiate Star League. And let's build esports. Yeah. Yeah. What is my favorite word?